The Fu family's private plane was always used only for our two-person journey, me and Fu Hanzhou. But today, on the 3rd anniversary of our marriage, there was one more person in the cabin. The girl wore a white dress, smiling with innocence and kindness. She waved at me and said, "Hello, sister-in-law. My name is Song Qingqing." Brother Hanzhou said he wanted to take me out for a little relaxation. My gaze fell on her necklace, a silk scarf I had ordered from a Parisian boutique. There was only one like this in the world. Fu Hanzhou didn't even lift his head. He said indifferently, "Ziyi, Qingqing has done well lately, so I decided to reward her by taking her along." I smiled, took off the diamond ring on my ring finger, and placed it gently on the table in front of him. "Have fun, President Fu. This trip, and our marriage, are both over." I turned around and walked towards the door of the cockpit. Song Qingqing immediately showed a look of tears on her face, and she grabbed Fu Hanzhou's sleeve. "Changzhou, did my sister misunderstand us? It's all my fault. I shouldn't have come here at all." Fu Hanzhou finally frowned. He grabbed my wrist with a bit too much force. "Shen Ziyi, have you had enough of this nonsense? To throw a tantrum on our anniversary day just because of some stranger? Is this what a young lady from the Shen family should do?" I looked at him, feeling that these 3 years had been nothing but a joke. I calmly pushed his hand away. "Fu Hanzhou, you're wrong. First of all, from the moment I took off my ring, you are no longer one of my people. Secondly, I'm not just making a joke. I'm telling you that we are done for." After saying that, I didn't look at him again, and walked straight down the ladder. The cold wind blew against my face, but I felt extremely clear-headed. When did the proud daughter of the Shen family ever suffer such humiliation? To see me compete with that whore, she must have the ability to do that. I took out my phone and called my assistant. "Amy, please help me contact a lawyer right now. We need to prepare the divorce agreement. Also, sell all of the shares in the related projects owned by the Fu family under my name immediately." On the other end of the phone, Amy was clearly stunned, but she quickly recovered. "Okay, Director Shen, I'll go ahead right now." After hanging up the phone, I looked at the private plane about to take off, with a cold smile on my lips. "Fu Hanzhou, do you think Shen Ziyi, won't be able to live without you? You'll soon find out who really needs whom." Song Qingqing probably thought she had won. Shortly after the plane took off, her social media updates were updated. The photo showed exquisite champagne and desserts in the cabin, along with her dazzling silk scarf. Thanks to Brother Hanzhou's help, my bad mood disappeared immediately. I'm in the Maldives. Soon, someone from our mutual circle who was secretly on the inside sent me a screenshot. "Ziyi, what is going on?" "Fu Hanzhou, I replied. "Just wait and see," then turned off my phone. Fu Hanzhou probably thought I was just throwing a tantrum, and that once he had finished having fun, he could come back and coax me as usual. Unfortunately, I never give anyone a second chance. At the same time the plane landed in the Maldives, Fu Group's stock price plummeted without warning. Several core projects invested in by me were forced to halt because their funding chains suddenly broke. Fu Hanzhou's phone was probably close to being smashed by now. I wondered whether he still had the mood to enjoy the sea with his Qingqing sister. Fu Hanzhou called 3 hours later. I was leisurely swimming in the temperature-controlled swimming pool of my villa, and I didn't even look at the call before hanging up. The phone kept ringing insistently. I found it annoying, so I turned it off. The butler, Uncle Zhang, came over with a plate of fruit, looking worried. "Miss, your son-in-law's call. He's just an unimportant person." I took off my swimming goggles and wiped the water from my face. "Uncle Zhang, from now on, I will block all calls from the Fu family." Uncle Zhang sighed, but still nodded. "Yes, Mississippi." I knew what Uncle Zhang was worried about. After 3 years of marriage with Fu Hanzhou, we have always appeared as a model couple in the eyes of others. The marriage between the Shen and Fu families has become a famous story in the business world, but they don't know that behind this story is the heavy loss of prestige that my Shen family has suffered due to it. Back then, the Fu family was on the verge of bankruptcy. It was I who, against all advice, convinced my father to use the connections and resources of the Shen family to save the Fu family from falling into ruin. Fu Hanzhou also showed great courage. In just 3 years, he managed to bring the Fu family to new heights. Perhaps, standing too high made him forget who helped him stand up in the first place. He thought that the Fu family was now strong enough to challenge the Shen family, even to replace me as the leader of the family. Naive. I took a sip of juice and opened the financial news section. The stock price of the Fu Group plummeted by 20% today. Many key projects have stopped functioning, causing panic in the market. Below the news article was a photo of Fu Hangzhou being surrounded by reporters at the airport in Maldives. He looked anxious, shouting at his phone, while Song Qingqing was terrified and pale. I smiled satisfied. This was just the appetizer. The next day, I arranged a meeting with Fu Hangzhou's biggest rival, Lu Jinggan, at a private club. Lu Jinggan wore a well-cut silver-gray suit. His peach-colored eyes were slightly raised, and there was a hint of a mocking smile on his face. Miss Shen, I really didn't expect you to actually make an invitation to me. He poured me a drink, his demeanor elegant. After all, I'm the person that your husband hates the most. I shook the glass, and the bright red liquid formed beautiful curves on the glass's surface. But that won't be the case anymore. Lu Jinggan raised his eyebrows, his interest growing even more. Oh, what do you mean by that? I want a divorce. I went straight to the point. The problems that the Fu family is facing are just the beginning. I think President Lu will be very interested in taking back what he once took away from you. Lu Jinggan's expression changed instantly. It was the look of a hunter who has long been waiting to catch his prey. 3 years ago, the Lu family and the Fu family competed for a crucial overseas project. Fu Hangzhou used some dishonorable methods to cause Lu Jinggan to lose miserably. As a result, the Lu family suffered greatly. Lu Jinggan had to bear this resentment for 3 whole years. What does Miss Shen want to do with us? He leaned forward slightly, his voice filled with suppressed excitement. It's simple, I said, putting down my glass and looking him straight in the eyes. I want the Fu family to disappear completely. Lu Jinggan smiled. He extended his hand. Let's cooperate well, Miss Shen. Likewise, Mr. Lu. The two of us had different motives. One was profit, the other was revenge. We hit it off right away. Fu Hangzhou's good days were over. The photo of me meeting with Lu Jinggan was quickly leaked by someone accidentally. In the photo, we seemed to be having a pleasant conversation, with a very intimate demeanor. This act caused a huge stir among people. The wife of President Fu has a secret meeting with her longtime rival. There were signs of trouble in the wealthy family's marriages, wasn't there? A once loving couple has turned into enemies. The marriage between Shen and Fu seems to be on the verge of breaking apart. Fu Hangzhou flew back from the Maldives overnight, without even visiting his family, and went straight to the company. What I received instead was a call from my mother-in-law, Mrs. Fu. As soon as the call connected, she started throwing accusations at me. Shen Ziyi, what the hell are you doing? Hangzhou is in a mess right now. You don't even offer any help. And instead, you go see that scoundrel Lu Jinggan. Are you trying to ruin the Fu family? Her voice was sharp and harsh, completely different from the graceful and elegant Mrs. Fu that I usually saw. I could even imagine her mouth spewing words in anger at that moment. I scratched my ear, speaking in a calm tone. Madam Fu, do you forget that I'm also a victim? A victim? What right do you have to call yourself a victim? She sneered. Men who work hard outside face great pressure. It's normal for them to have multiple relationships. As a wife, you should be more understanding and considerate of him. As for Song Qingqing, I met her and she's a nice girl. She's gentle and considerate. She's much better than you, a woman who only cares about work. I was furious by her distorted statements. So, you mean I deserve to be betrayed, and I should even be grateful for this understanding from someone else? What kind of attitude is that? Madame Fu raised her voice. Shen Ziyi, I tell you, as long as I'm alive, you won't ever get divorced from Hangzhou. The reputation of the Fu family cannot be ruined by you. Oh, really? I chuckled. Then it's better if you live longer. After saying that, I hung up the phone and blocked her number. Immediately afterwards, I asked my assistant Amy to compile a list of all the gifts I have given her over the past 3 years. The list included everything from Hermès limited edition bags, to the jewelry purchased through Sotheby's, to the Chanel haute couture clothes she wears. Each item was clearly marked with the date and price of purchase. The total value of these gifts exceeded 8 digits. At the end of the email, I added a sentence. Madame Fu, since you think I don't deserve to be the daughter-in-law of the Fu family, then these gifts should be returned to their rightful owners. Please pack everything up within 24 hours. My car will come to pick them up. Oh, and remember to clean and disinfect them, I find them dirty. After sending the email, I felt relieved. With such people, it's impossible to reason with them. If you try to reason with them, they will counter with family ties. If you try to use family ties, they will play tricks on you. Only by using what she values most, money and reputation, and hitting her hard on these points can you get her to listen to reason. As expected, within less than half an hour, Mrs. Fu called me through someone else's phone. Her voice was filled with anger and frustration. I didn't answer the call. Let her keep screaming and get her angry enough, so that I won't have to see her again in the future. Fu Hangzhou returned on the evening of the next day. He burst into my study, covered in dust. With dark bruises under his eyes, he looked utterly disheveled. Behind him was Song Qingqing, who was crying bitterly. Shen Ziyi, how long do you plan to keep this up? He threw a document onto my desk. His voice filled with suppressed anger. Selling off our shares, colluding with Lu Jinggan, and now you're making my mother angry. Just because I took Qingqing out for a walk to relax, do you really want to destroy everything we've built together? I glanced at the document on the table. It was a letter of intent for a foreign project by the Fu family. The partner in this deal is Lu Jinggan, the most important investor in our company right now. I looked up at Song Qingqing behind him. Today, she wore a pink dress, with a diamond necklace around her neck. That necklace was something Fu Hangzhou bought at an auction a few days ago, saying it was a gift for our 3rd anniversary, but in the end, it ended up being given to her. I laughed, so much that tears almost came to my eyes. Fu Hangzhou, do you really think that all this you've done is just a way to relieve stress? It seemed like my laughter had provoked him. He stepped forward and grabbed my wrist. What else? Qingqing, she's pregnant. His voice became lower, filled with a subtle sense of guilt and determination. Ziyi, I know that I've wronged you with this decision, but the child is innocent. Please hold on for now. Once I sign this contract and stabilize the company, I will give you an explanation. We can discuss the matter of divorcing later. He thought that by revealing this shocking news, I would collapse, go crazy, or compromise for the sake of the Shen family's reputation. Song Qingqing also stood up, her face showing a victorious smile, her eyes full of defiance. The air seemed to freeze. I stared at them, but my smile grew even bigger. Pregnant? I clapped my hands gently. Congratulations, President Fu. You're in for double joy. Fu Hangzhou's brows furrowed even more deeply. He didn't understand why I reacted this way. I slowly stood up and walked up to him. From the drawer of his desk, I took out a document and showed it to him. But, President Fu, before congratulating you, should I tell you something else? I leaned in close to his ear, speaking in a voice only the two of us could hear. You, Fu Hangzhou, have vas deferens obstruction, and are infertile. This diagnosis report was handed to me by you during your annual checkup a year ago. I've been keeping it for you. So, Fu Hangzhou, I looked at his pale face, and my smile became even brighter. Tell me, whose child is this illegitimate child in her belly? Fu Hangzhou's face lost all its color in an instant. He stared at me in disbelief, then suddenly turned his head toward Song Qingqing. His eyes were like knives, ready to execute Song Qingqing with them. You lied to me. Song Qingqing was so scared that she trembled all over, retreating back step by step, her face pale as paper. No, it's not true. Hangzhou brother, please listen to my explanation. The child is yours. It really is yours. It's her who forged the reports in order to frame me. She pointed at me, screaming hoarsely. I stood there, arms crossed, watching this farce with a sense of boredom. Forged reports? I sneered. President Fu, in my study's safe, I have backups of diagnostic reports from top hospitals both domestically and internationally. Do you want to see them one by one? Or, we could go to the hospital right now, have her undergo an amniocentesis, and get a DNA test. Then everything will be clear, right? Fu Hangzhou's body swayed, as if all his strength had been drained away. He stared intently at Song Qingqing's smooth abdomen, his eyes filled with disgust and humiliation. He was completely trapped by this innocent girl whom he always defended. Get out. Fu Hangzhou managed to say just one word through his teeth. Song Qingqing rushed forward, trying to take his hand. Hangzhou, I love you. I did all this because I love you too much. I tell you to get out. Fu Hangzhou shoved her away violently. Song Qingqing stumbled and fell to the ground. She lay there, crying bitterly. Fu Hangzhou didn't even bother to look at her again. He turned around and looked at me with a complex expression on his face. There was shock, regret, and something like, pleading. President Fu. I interrupted him coldly. The farce is over. You can leave my house with your people. And also, the divorce agreement will be delivered to your office by my lawyer tomorrow. I hope you can sign it quickly, just like tonight. My words were like a bucket of ice water, extinguishing the last spark in his eyes. He staggered forward, leaving behind a feeling of disorientation. The faint crying of Song Qingqing still echoed in the living room. The butler, Uncle Zhang, came over and said to her without expression, "Miss Song, please go ahead." After he left, the whole world became quiet. I sent a message to Lu Jinggan. The fish is caught. It's time to pull in the net. Lu Jinggan replied immediately. The show has begun. Fu Hangzhou thought that by dealing with Song Qingqing, he could come back and ask me for forgiveness and restore everything. He underestimated the situation. The fire he ignited was just beginning to burn. And I will watch from the sidelines, as I watch him and everything he cherished be destroyed into ashes. It seems that Fu Hangzhou really believed that as long as he dealt with Song Qingqing, there would still be some room for maneuvering between us. At 3 a.m. that day, my phone suddenly lit up. It was a photo. Under the harsh light of the operating lights, Song Qingqing was lying on the cold operating table, surrounded by two strong caregivers. Her face was covered in tears, and she was crying silently, with her mouth open. Immediately afterwards, Fu Hangzhou sent me a message. I've gotten rid of the child he's had in her belly. I know I was wrong. The next day, he appeared downstairs of Shen's group, holding a large bouquet of fiery red roses. He wanted to see me. I told the receptionist that I was busy and couldn't see him. He waited downstairs, from morning until night, attracting many people to watch. On the third day, he changed his strategy and started giving me gifts. Today, it was my favorite jewelry brand, Guedin. Tomorrow, it was a rare vinyl record that I've always wanted to collect. All of these gifts were returned to him without any changes. On the fourth day, he directly went to my father. My father scolded me on the phone, saying that I shouldn't be so willful. He said that couples should resolve their disputes peacefully, and that I should find a way to make things better between us. I simply replied, "Dad, it was you who said that the daughter of the Shen family would never tolerate any injustice." There was a silence on the other end of the phone. I knew my father was soft-hearted. He loved me, but he also valued the cooperation between the Shen and Fu families. Fu Hangzhou had clearly understood this point and wanted to follow the family approach. Unfortunately, he had misjudged the situation. On the weekend, while I was helping my mother with flower arranging at home, Fu Hangzhou suddenly broke in. He looked much thinner, with a messy beard and a wrinkled suit, completely lacking the former vigor he once had. In his hand was a delicate gift box, containing the tea leaves that my mother really liked. "Mom," he said in a hoarse voice, trying to smile in a friendly manner, "I came to see you." My mother glanced at me without saying anything, seemingly agreeing to let him enter. Understood. He walked up to me, his eyes filled with bloodshot vision, and his gaze was filled with pleading. "Let's talk. Okay? Just once." I put down the scissors I was holding and wiped my hands together. "Okay." I led him to the pavilion in the garden. He took out a velvet box from his pocket, opened it, and inside was a diamond ring, exactly the same as the one I had thrown away earlier. I know I was wrong." He took my hand, trying to put the ring on me. "It's my fault. I was blinded by greed, tricked by that woman, Song Qingqing. Please forgive me. Let's start over, okay?" His hands were cold, and they were still trembling slightly. I looked at him, and suddenly found it somewhat ridiculous. "Fu Hangzhou, do you really think that all the problems stem from Song Qingqing?" He was stunned. "Isn't that true?" "Of course not." I pulled my hand back, looking him in the eyes. "The problem lies with you. It was you who destroyed the trust between us. It was you who couldn't control yourself. It was you who personally ruined our marriage. Song Qingqing, it's just a projection of your own desires. Without Song Qingqing, there will always be another Zhang Qingqing, or Li Qingqing." I picked up that ring, and in his hopeful eyes, I threw it into the pond beside us. "Fu Hangzhou, I find it dirty." The light in his eyes completely faded away. After I rejected him, Fu Hangzhou seemed to have become a different person. He no longer came to bother me. Instead, he devoted all his energy to work, trying to save Fu Corporation from its decline. After being abandoned by Fu Hangzhou, Song Qingqing completely lost her mind. She first went to Fu Group to cause trouble and was dragged away by security guards. After that, she exposed online that she was carrying Fu Hangzhou's child but had been cruelly abandoned. She also attached several ambiguous photos, portraying herself as a devoted and pitiful victim. For a time, Fu Hangzhou was pushed into the center of public controversy. Fu Corporation's stock price fell again. This was exactly the situation Lu Jinggan and I wanted to see. Public opinion is like a double-edged sword. Used well, it can destroy someone without them even realizing it. Fu Hangzhou was busy dealing with the public relations crisis, while Lu Jinggan took the opportunity to begin his acquisition plan. He first announced publicly that he would enter into a strategic partnership with Norlon Group, the rival company of the Fu family. As soon as this news spread, Fu's already precarious overseas market situation became even worse. Immediately afterwards, Lu Jinggan began to contact those shareholders within Fu's company who were hesitant and uncertain. Threats, offers of benefits. The same methods that Fu Hangzhou used to deal with him were now used against him again. Soon, Fu's board of directors became completely disorganized. Fu Hangzhou was surrounded by betrayal and internal conflicts. Every day, watching the tragic situation of the Fu family in the financial news made me feel extremely happy. One day, Amy knocked on my door, with a somewhat strange expression on her face. "President Shen, there's a lady, Miss Song, who wants to see you." I raised my eyebrows. "Song Qingqing, what does she want from me? Let her in." A few minutes later, Song Qingqing entered the room. She looked even more haggard than Fu Hangzhou. Her eyes were sunken, and she was wearing cheap clothes. The arrogance that once characterized her had completely disappeared. She stood before me, then collapsed to the ground with a heavy thud. "Miss Shen, please, help me," she cried out. After revealing her secrets, she not only received no sympathy but was instead targeted by the entire internet community. Now, she has lost her job, her reputation is ruined, and she owes a huge amount of debt due to usurious loans. "It's all Fu Hangzhou's fault. He's the one who caused this to me," she said, gritting her teeth. "He said that if I acted in this play, he would give me a large sum of money and send me abroad. He said he's tired of you already. He said you're too aggressive and boring, like a robot. He said he needs a submissive woman to provoke you, to make you jealous, to make you care more about him." I listened quietly, with no expression on my face. "So, you came to me because you wanted me to help you deal with him?" "Yes." She raised her head, her eyes filled with madness and hatred. "As long as you can help me pay off my debts and allow me to start over, I will do anything you ask me to do. I can go to the press conference and tell everyone the truth. I will make him a failure." I looked at her face, twisted by jealousy and hatred, and suddenly laughed. I took out my phone and pressed the recording button. "Okay," I said, "you can say those words again." Song Qingqing thought she had seized a crucial opportunity. Without hesitation, she repeated the plan between her and Fu Hangzhou in great detail. Every detail in her words was filled with resentment towards Fu Hangzhou. After she finished speaking, I took the phone back. Satisfied? Good. Song Qingqing looked at me expectantly. "So, my money?" I stood up and walked up to her, looking down at her from above. "Miss Song, do you misunderstand something? Why should I help you?" Song Qingqing's expression became rigid. "You didn't say," I said to repeat it. "I didn't say you should help me." I smiled like a naive demon. "People like you could betray Fu Hangzhou for money today, and tomorrow they could betray me for the same reason. Why would I invest in a piece of trash like you?" Song Qingqing's face turned red as if it were pork liver. She suddenly stood up, ready to throw herself at me. "Shen Ziyi, you tricked me." Amy quickly stopped the security guard who rushed in. "Throw her out," I ordered calmly. "Shen Ziyi, you bitch. I won't let you go. None of you will live to see this day." Song Qingling's curses were heard only outside the door. I sent the recording to Lu Jinggan. "A gift for you." Half an hour later, the recording appeared online. The title was, "Annual Drama. A wealthy CEO hires a mistress to stage a scene of forcing his wife into marriage." In the recording, Song Qingling's voice was clear, describing Fu Hangzhou as a despicable and shameless man who played with emotions. Suddenly, the whole internet went crazy. Those who previously sympathized with Song Qingling immediately changed their attitude and started criticizing Fu Hangzhou and Song Qingling. The hashtag Fu Hangzhou out of business hashtag became the top trending topic on the search engine. After the market opened, Fu Corporation's stock price immediately fell below the warning line. The board of directors immediately held an emergency meeting at night and decided to remove Fu Hangzhou from his position as CEO. The business empire he built with his own hands was ruthlessly abandoned overnight. I sat in my office, watching the traffic outside the window, and took a sip of the coffee Amy had just brewed. It tasted wonderful. Lu Jinggan called me, his voice filled with uncontrollable laughter. Ziyi, your killing with a borrowed knife strategy was brilliant. I think so too. I chuckled softly. Without President Lu's push, this fire would never have burned so fiercely. Would you like to celebrate together tonight? He invited. For our shared victory. Sure. I thought it was time to put a perfect end to this farce. The celebration took place on Lu Jinggan's private yacht. The evening breeze was pleasant, and the view of the river at night was beautiful. I clinked my glass with Lu Jinggan. The Fu family is over, Lu Jinggan said, looking at the lights in the distance with a sigh. All that's left are vultures feasting on the corpses. Thank you, I said sincerely. It's me who should be thanked, he replied, his peach-colored eyes appearing particularly serious in the darkness of the night. Without you, I might never have had a chance to take revenge. He paused for a moment, then asked, what do you plan to do next? Travel, read books, or maybe open a flower shop? I shrugged. Who knows? Don't you plan to take over the Shen family? My father is still young. I laughed. I just want to live a comfortable life. We exchanged smiles. Everything was said without words. Just then, my phone rang. It was a stranger's number. I answered the phone. At the other end of the line, I heard Fu Hangzhou's voice, hoarse and filled with despair. Shen Ziyi, I'm on the rooftop, the top floor of the Fu building. My heart sank suddenly. You won. His voice seemed both crying and laughing at the same time. I have nothing left. Home, career, love, everything is gone. Ziyi, tell me, what did those 3 years really mean? Did you really love me? His voice trembled in the wind, carrying the last shred of humble plea. I remained silent for a long time. The sound of the yacht's whistle and the chatter of the river became distant in my ears. I held the phone, staring at the dazzling city skyline in the distance. There was once a whole building that he had illuminated for me. I loved you. I said this calmly. It's precisely because I loved you that I can't forgive you. Fu Hangzhou, it was you who killed my love with your own hands. At the other end of the line, there was a long silence. Then, I heard a light laugh from him. It sounded like a sigh of relief, yet also like self-mockery. I understand. Ziyi, in the end, can I ask you one more question? Go on. My infertility report was also false, right? For a moment, my breath stopped. I didn't answer, but it seemed like he already knew the answer. Ha ha ha. He laughed wildly. So, from the beginning, I was already lost. Lost completely. Shen Ziyi, you're really ruthless. After saying that, the call was ended. I stood there, holding the phone, motionless for a long time. Lu Jinggan came over and gently patted my shoulder. He will be fine. I know. I nodded. People like Fu Hangzhou always cherish their lives. He just couldn't accept it. Fu Hangzhou didn't commit suicide. He simply wanted to use this method to gain my last bit of sympathy, or rather, to leave a permanent scar in my heart. But alas, I was immune to all poisons. A few days later, the Fu Corporation announced its bankruptcy and reorganization. Lu Jinggan quickly acquired the company's most valuable assets, becoming a new star in the business world. Fu Hangzhou, on the other hand, completely disappeared from public view. It was said that he sold all his assets to barely pay off his debts. Now, he lives in an unknown small city, struggling to make ends meet. As for Song Qingqing, her fate was even worse. The creditors who couldn't find Fu Hangzhou blamed her for all their losses. She was seen being beaten on the streets, in a miserable state. After that, there was no more news of her. All those who hurt me have received their just punishment. This months-long crisis finally came to an end. I took a long vacation for myself. I went to Iceland to see the auroras, skied in Switzerland, and visited the African savanna to observe animal migrations. I did everything I wanted to do but didn't have time to do in the past 3 years. 6 months later, I returned to my country. At the airport, I unexpectedly met Lu Jinggan. He seemed more steady than before, with a look of vigor in his eyes. What a coincidence, he said with a smile. Yes, it's really a coincidence. If you don't mind, can I give you a ride? Sure. On the car ride, we talked about various matters. His company was doing well, and my florist shop was about to open. By the way, he suddenly remembered something and took out an envelope from the passenger seat and handed it to me. This. I think it's better if you handle it yourself. I opened it with curiosity. Inside was a divorce agreement and a letter. The letter was written by Fu Hanzhou, with a messy handwriting that showed the chaos of his emotions at that time. The content of the letter was quite long, filled with regrets and meaningless words. He said that he just wanted to use Song Qingqing to provoke me. He didn't expect her to become pregnant, and he never imagined that things would get so out of control. He said that he loved me, and that he had always only loved me. I quickly skimmed through the letter, feeling nothing but irony, until the last line caught my eye. Ziyi, if time could go back, I would definitely kneel down and ask you to take off that ring right then. I crumpled the letter along with the divorce agreement into pieces. Then I rolled down the window, letting the fragments drift away with the wind. Lu Jinggan watched me from the rearview mirror, without saying a word. The car drove up to my house. Thank you, I said, unfollowing my seatbelt. Ziyi, he suddenly called out to me. You are free now. He looked at me with a sincere smile in his eyes. I wish you eternal freedom. I was stunned for a moment, but then I smiled too. Thank you. You too. Yes. I am free now. I have been freed from a failed marriage, from a wrong relationship. There is still a long future ahead, and I will live my life more brilliantly than ever before, with my freedom at my side.